speaking of McDavid and his Oilers, the Oilers have a road trip coming up. They're going to be in Tampa Bay tonight, Florida on Saturday, and Carolina on Sunday. The Lightning, Panthers, and Hurricanes have a combined 56-12-6 mark on home ice this season. Has this officially become the worst road trip in the NHL?
Yeah, it's become Death Valley, right?
Yeah.
I mean, man, and like think of
ironically, Death Valley is the easiest place to go.
But I mean, it used to be for the longest time. It used to be California. Right?
I was going to say California.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Like when LA and Anaheim and San Jose were powers in the league, and they weren't in the worst division in the league, and they were all sort of Stanley Cup contenders. That was a tough one. This one here, like, wow, you're running into three buzzsaws in a row, right?
Yeah.
Like three teams that are fast. They can score a ton. They're hard to play against.
Yeah.
And now there's people that watch them, you know. I mean, no, but I mean, Carolina's a hard building to play in.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love how they took Carolina culture and meshed it with hockey culture. It reminds me of Los Angeles in the 90s when they took that kind of hair metal kind of culture and meshed it with the Kings, except that Carolina is actually good, and the Kings in the 90s were, I guess they had a couple Gretzky years. But,
made the final in 93, but they weren't that good.
Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
Right.
I think this is one where teams are looking at their schedule because we're in Canada, and they say those three games.
Very well, Lieutenant.
Wow. Yeah. Those three games are going to be a biatch for us.
Right.
Like I said, I mean, for the most part, they're all three are getting great goaltending for the most part.
Yeah.
All three can just score. I mean, Florida, oh, wow, we're down 3-0. Big deal.
Yeah.
We'll just come back and win anyways. Right.
Yeah.
I really think that has become the dreaded trip on the calendar.
Yeah.
The one that used to be Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver. That was a tough one.
Yeah.
At one point, maybe New York would have been a real difficult one. New York, the Islanders, Rangers and Jersey.
Yeah.
So now this one is like this is a tough one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
My follow-up question to that is, do you think that there's a particular team or style that would do well on a road trip like this? Like the one that comes to my mind would be the Calgary Flames, a Daryl Sutter type team that could frustrate teams like Carolina, Florida, Tampa.
Yeah, maybe. Cause I guess the question is do you want to get into a track meet with them? Do you want to turn it into a big offensive game and just try and outscore them? Or, do you shut things down a little more, right?
Yeah.
They're all extremely well coached.
Yeah.
All three teams are extremely well coached. I'm not sure if you just don't want to run with them. You probably don't. You don't want to run with them and try and win that way.
Unless you're Colorado or maybe Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In which case then, maybe you do it, but yeah, I probably wouldn't want to be the kind of team that tries to match these guys goal for goal kind of thing, because I mean, look at the teams and the players you're playing against. Yeah. I mean, Jonathan Huberdeau might be the Hart Trophy winner this year.
Yeah.
Might also win the Selke.
Right.
And, in Tampa, you've got all kinds of firepower. And with Carolina, I find it's just balanced, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody can chip in on that team. I mean, there's no superstar on that team, I don't think. I mean,
Sebastian Aho.
He's not a superstar. He's a really good elite NHL player.
Yeah.
He's not a superstar.
Yeah, fair enough.
The other teams, probably you could say that they're boasting a guy who you could argue is a superstar in the league. So, yeah.
Yeah, for me, I was going to say the exact same thing. It reminds me of the California road trip because, when Los Angeles Kings was winning their cups, the Ducks were firmly in their cup window.
Yeah.
And San Jose Sharks, I mean, let's be honest. I honestly, that team, I don't know how they didn't win a cup.
Yeah, they're one of the best teams not to win a cup. Like, I think of them.
Would you go as far as the best team?
No, because I was thinking about this when Emil Francis died on the weekend.
Right.
Those Ranger teams that he put together.
Right.
They might have been the best teams
Yeah.
in the 70s. They might have been the best teams not to win a Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
You know, Eddie Giacomin, Brad Park, Jean Rattel, Rod Gilbert.
Yeah.
They had some amazing talent on those teams.
Yeah.
And they just happened to be running into, the Canadians of the 70s and the Bruins of the early 70s.
Right.
Right. And
were they good?
They were okay. Yeah. Yeah. So to me, I still think, that might be one of the best teams not to win a cup. But San Jose's right there too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, we're going to be biased to our generation because San Jose is the one that I just saw constantly.
Are you saying I'm old? That's what you're saying. Yeah. That's what you're saying because that was like almost 50 years ago.
Yeah, well, that is what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah. My great-great-grandmother told me that her grandmother told her about those teams in the 70s.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah.
No, I mean, so Joe Thornton has been for most of his career, possibly my favorite skater in the NHL.
Okay.
And just the way that he plays the game and thinks the game and just does everything so smart, did everything so smart, was tough as nails, right? And didn't always bring it out, but every once in a while he would remind the world that he was 6'5" and 240 or whatever he was. And then also just, kind of coming out with his shirt off and bit of a beer gut hanging over his,
And who's he almost sometimes playing for now? Florida.
Right. Yeah, exactly. No, I know. It's funny because I thought he did the exact transformation, right? He went from cool hippie on the West Coast, right? To like going back to Toronto where he's from St. Thomas. So let's say Southern Ontario area.
Yeah.
Coming back. And then what do all old fogies do from Toronto? They go down to Florida for the winter.
That's right.
Yeah. So he went from cool West Coast, hippie to Florida beach bum.
Yeah.
Yeah. The transformation is complete.
Wouldn't it be great if they won though? And he was able to get his name on the cup. That would be wonderful.
I think so.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah. It's funny because we're not really talking about him a lot.
I saw Joe. Why? Because he's healthy scratch a lot of times.
No, I realize that.
I saw Joe play as a 15-year-old when he played for the St. Thomas Stars in Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
And he was 15 years old playing against guys who were 17, 18, 19 years old. And he was like, it wasn't close.
Yeah.
It wasn't close the year that the Sioux drafted him.
Yeah.
It wasn't close.
Yeah.
And ever since then, like he knows who I am now, right? And we talk because I went to see him play as a 15-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah. I knew a guy that played house league with him and said that even from house league, it's just so obvious that he was going to the NHL. He's just so much bigger, stronger, and faster and everything than anybody else. And anyways, he's been a likable guy to watch. Patrick Marleau has obviously been an incredibly likable guy to watch, right? It's just, it's been a likable team.
Patrick Marleau, a Hall of Famer. That's a good one. That's a really
great
good
question.
That's a really, really good one. Because do you get it just because of the sheer volume? Played the most games.
That's always the thing.
Never won anything. Never won anything. Never came close to really winning anything. Was never a first team All-Star or I don't think was ever a first or second team All-Star. Never won an individual award, but just showed up and played really hard and real well for a long, long time. Is that enough to get you in? I think probably by a lot of people's standards it is.
Yeah.
By mine, I'd have to think about that. Yeah. Anyways, we're going way off. We're going
way off.
Getting way out of our lane here.
I'll move on to the next question. Shall we? Yes. Okay.
Yes.